So this is my Odd Jobs #2 video. Not a project video, not a video where I build something or make something or whatever, but just like an update video. It's the second one I've done. Odd Jobs #2. I'm going to talk about what's going on, but I'm also going to start out with a story. A story of an odd job from my past that was just kind of crazy and one I've been thinking about. Alright, so the odd job I've been thinking about it's another old one. This is like 1995, somewhere in there. And I was living up in the mountains in Colorado, and I got a job as a day laborer. Okay, so this is like unskilled labor on for a construction company, or it might have been a couple different construction companies. The thing about this job is I was so unskilled, I didn't even know what was going on. Like, I couldn't even tell who I was working for. I just had to show up, get picked up in a truck, and go work for the day. But anyway, okay, so this one day, I show up and at the meeting spot. It wasn't even like an office or anything. I show up in the meeting spot and get picked up, and it's me and this other guy. When he and I were always working together, we get picked up and we jump in the back of the truck and go to the job. And that was a typical day. You know, you just be bundled up, cold, and you don't even know where you're going, what kind of work you're doing. You're just showing up to work. You know, you're like you're a laborer, day laborer. And we show up at this gated, brand new golf course at Beaver Creek that's going in. So it's like this beautiful valley, this mountain valley. And we show up and we're driving up this valley, and you know, we're like looking at these like really nice homes, gorgeous, like brand new houses in this valley, really pretty. And the guys stop the truck, they give us a couple of shovels, and they're like, all right, go plant that tree. And it's not like a quick job. This is a big tree. And the reason they're not using like a, you know, like a machine to plant it, a backhoe or something, is because it's really muddy on this hillside, like wicked muddy. You know, it's fall, it had snowed a little bit and then thawed out, and it was just wicked muddy. So anyway, we're sitting there digging this hole. This hole is about 6 feet across and like 4 feet deep. And I said we're digging this hole, but really I'm digging the hole because the dude I'm working with is this guy from Minnesota, and he can talk, and he is spending most of the time demonstrating, like physically showing me how to skydive. He's like really into skydiving. I don't know how he got into skydiving. I don't know how he wound up in Colorado doing this laborer job, but anyway, he is totally into like showing me like how he puts his arm out and where you pull the chute and everything. And he's entertaining, like really funny guy. Anyway, so we're digging this hole, and we spend most of the day digging the hole. And it's a beautiful spot, like mountains. Like, I got no complaints. I got work, I got, you know, this guy to hang out with. We have lunch, you know, just like sitting there in the mud or whatever. Dig this hole, and I think a couple guys come over to help us move the tree into the hole. It's like wrapped in sack, and it's a big tree. This weighs a lot. So, you know, we kind of leverage the tree into the hole. You know, we're squaring it up, getting it just right, getting it straight. And we're about to fill it in, you know, like fill in the dirt and or mud or whatever it is. We're about to fill it in, and I think it was like the general contractor or maybe the owner, I can't remember, but somebody comes walking over, stands at the house, you know, stands back at the house is kind of behind us, maybe 20 yards or whatever, stands in the house, looks at our tree, kind of looks at the valley, shaking the head, and the next thing we know, we got to pull the tree and move it like 10 feet over. And so we had work the next day. We called it for that day, you know, start filling in the hole, filling it back in. You know, you fill a hole like that, it ends up being like a big mound. So we're tamping it and trying to pack it down. And we know the next day we've got to dig a hole 10 feet away for the same tree. And we did it, you know, same thing, packed up in the truck, came back up there the next day, got to digging, dug that hole, and, you know, talking, laughing. But it was, I guess for me, just one of those things you remember, like of all the things you've done, it's one of those things you remember. For one, just because it was so I guess, intense, profound, I don't know what the term is, to be a day laborer, you know, just to have that kind of position where you are just there to dig a hole. You're not supposed to think about it. You're not supposed to say, hey, I think this hole might be better off over here or whatever. Your job is to dig a hole, and that's what you do. And there's something I just loved about that, but it was also kind of crappy. The other thing was that it was just so crazy to redo that job. You know, that was such a big job, took so much time. And to redo it, it wasn't that, and we hadn't even made a mistake. You know, we had done exactly what we were supposed to do, but our labor was so cheap and kind of like expendable that having us dig the new hole was just like, whatever, pay a couple guys for another day, you know, dig a hole, move that tree over so it's not blocking the view, or whatever the problem was the tree. I never even found out why they wanted the tree moved. I'm assuming it was blocking the view. So anyway, that stuck with me. Since then, I am continually redoing jobs and you know, making changes to things. And I often think of when I redo something, like working on the bus or working on whatever I'm working on, when I redo something, I often think about that time that I had to dig the same hole twice to plant the same tree twice. For me, it just sort of stuck in my mind as a metaphor, a symbol, or whatever it is, for that kind of futility, but then also a little bit about the importance of getting it right and how it is worth it to, you know, just do another day's work to get it right. And then in terms of updates, I have finished a few projects in the last week or so, which has been pretty sweet. I wrapped up that stair project, almost wrapped up. It has a teeny bit of trim left to do, but it's just about done. I also built that lamp using this old tripod that I had up here in the shop for a long time. And I thought the lamp turned out pretty good. I also put it up on Etsy, which I hadn't done before, and I couldn't figure out a price for that thing. There are some big oversized lights on Etsy that are listed for like 3,000 bucks. And that just seemed crazy, but it seems like they're selling, so I went with like 500 or 600 bucks. It's probably too much. I might drop that price. There's nothing like building something and seeing it, you know, like in someone's place or apartment or whatever. So anyway, that's up on Etsy, and partly just because it's been so dang cold around here and I needed something to do inside, I also started carving a new spoon for myself. I use this bamboo spoon that I'm just totally into. I love it, but I think it's starting to wear out. So anyway, I started making a new one out of some maple. I don't know if maple is the best choice. I might shift over to some black walnut if that maple doesn't work out just right. But anyway, that's been kind of a fun thing, and it's probably going to take me a few weeks. I'm still whittling, and next is going to be some sanding, so that's going to be a little bit slow. I also spent just a little bit of time getting my router up and running again. I've got what I think is a pretty nice router. It has worked for me for years. It's got a really nice motor in it, but the mechanism for raising and lowering the bit is just, it's just annoying. It doesn't have enough leverage, so a little bit of sawdust gets in and a little bit of gunk and it just won't move. So anyway, I got that thing loosened up and lubricated. I think it should be good for a while till it gets stuck next time. We'll just have to see how it goes. And then you might have seen on my channel, I did drop another bus video. The cold weather has kept me out of the bus, I will admit it. I have not been working on the bus all that much the last few weeks, but the ice finally melted and it warmed up just a little bit out there, and I got out there, and you know, once you get going on a project, you kind of keep going. So the temperature dropped back down and I just kept going. So I got some cabinet doors done, I got some small projects around the bus, and I also got a backup camera installed. So the bus is pretty good. Right now I am in the planning stage of putting together a good solid plan for a roof deck / cargo rack, and I'll show you some sketches here of what I'm thinking about. Basically my plan with this guy is to keep it kind of small and at the back of the bus, maybe 12 feet long. And I've noticed with a lot of roof decks on schoolie builds, people, I think they're overbuilding them a bit. Maybe they're planning on having a big party up there, but a lot of the load for my cargo rack, it's going to be in the middle on the ribs of the bus, on the frame. So I'm not going to over-engineer the outside supports. I'm going to do some 1-inch tubing along the outside, kind of weld it up in a rack, and some simple attachments using rib nuts. And I'm going to go with a very low railing, like maybe 6 inches to a foot. It's not a deck to party on. with 4 or 5 of your best friends. It's really more, like I said, like a cargo rack. Put boats up there, you know, like canoes, kayaks, that kind of thing. And then also just extra cargo, gas cans, bags, surfboards, like whatever. You can even put a bike up there. And if you want to, you know, hang out up top and watch the sunset, do it up. But that's the way I'm going to do it. More like a cargo kind of tactical look to it, and less like a party deck. Let me know what you think. I think it's going to be cool. As you probably noticed, it snowed here again, so I'm not going to get up on that roof until the snow's gone and it's not slippery. So I'm hoping in the next few days to get back up there, but we'll have to see, weather permitting. And I mentioned last time, and I want to do it again, just a little bit of the inspiration I've been drawing from recently. You know, it's easy to focus on your own work and what you're doing, and kind of forget that your you know, your ideas come from people and from other places and books and whatnot. So anyway, I just want to put a shout out for one YouTube channel that is just, I just think it's awesome. It's called The Essential Craftsman, and it's a father-son duo. You've probably seen this thing because it's got a couple 100,000 subscribers right now. But anyway, if you haven't, check it out if you're into building and that kind of thing. Essential Craftsman, father-son duo. The father is he's a tradesman. Like, he's been in the trades for like 30 years. Older guy, a little bit older than me even. Maybe late 50s, maybe early 60s. And he's done concrete work. He's done a lot of framing, roofing work, that kind of thing. And this channel is different because he doesn't do build videos so much. You know, he's not like setting a camera down while he builds something. And he does a little bit of that, but mainly he's reflecting on the trade. Like, he's reflecting on his knowledge of tools and his appreciation of work and a hard day's work, and what it means to do something right and that kind of thing. So anyway, it's interesting. It's also in his shop, and man, his shop is glorious. It's kind of like a blacksmith shop, but it's more than that. And anyway, check it out if you haven't seen it already. You probably have, like I said, but it has been giving me a lot of inspiration. It's one of those channels where I've seen a lot of the videos, and then I finally went back to the beginning, and I've just been watching all the videos just to see everything he's got to say. And he's a little bit pedantic, you know, a little bit of a know-it-all, but dude, he does know it all, so I'm okay with that. Anyway, Essential Craftsman, check it out. Okay, so that's it for this episode of my Odd Job series. I'm gonna throw a football around with the dogs and see how that goes. You can see they kind of got started already. Anyway, I will see you in the next build video.